Obviously, they took a look at Dillon Gabriel. In comes Shedeur Sanders now. He gets his first win against the Raiders. Much, much tougher test against the Niners today. But, Adam, I'm curious, with a third of the season left, what is their approach with Shedeur Sanders?
Hannah, in speaking with Browns officials, they sound completely open-minded to having Shedeur play the rest of this season, assuming that he got. I think they're open to giving him an extended look here as their QB1 for the remainder of the season. Today's going to be a tough challenge.
That you were going to show this fan base that you are who they've been looking for. How do you think you did that?
I think I showed a couple of great pieces. It's some things I wish, I could get back. But, man, a win is crazy. It's amazing, off of 1 week of practice, 1 week of practice. So imagine, what a full offseason look like. It get dangerous. But it's just a 1 week of practice, so I'm just truly thankful.
What in the world just hit the NFL? Stop whatever you're doing, because what unfolded on that field is something the league has never seen before. This moment wasn't just newsworthy. It shook the entire football world to its core. And when I say Shedeur Sanders didn't simply make his first start for the Cleveland Browns, I mean the guy shattered every expectation ever built around him. He didn't walk into a normal rookie debut. He detonated a storyline the league has been whispering about for months. Every part of this felt like a seismic shift, the kind that has executives scratching their heads wondering how a fifth-round pick on a struggling Browns squad in Week 12 against the Las Vegas Raiders managed to outdraw actual playoff games. That's not hype. That's real league-changing attention. The numbers don't lie, and what they're telling us is simple. Shedeur Sanders isn't just another quarterback. He's a rare presence, someone who commands attention the moment he steps into the arena. To understand how wild this all is, you need the backstory. Shedeur Sanders was never supposed to get here this fast. The Browns drafted him in the 5th round, which in NFL terms means they saw him as a long-term project. The kind of guy who sits behind vets, studies the playbook, maybe learns from the sideline for years, and maybe gets a chance down the road if everything lines up.
To the point where they literally had to play him because they had no other option, right? And they throw him in there this week to make his rookie NFL debut as a starter. It's his first time starting on an NFL field, y'all, with a team that they let him practice with starting last Wednesday. He had 3 or 4 days to practice with the starting unit. That's it, before he started on an NFL field. They set him up to fail. And God's timing is crazy because he wears number 12 and he made his debut start in week 12 of the NFL. Then before the game even starts, he tells the reporter lady, "I'm the one they've been waiting for." No, it wasn't a question mark at the end. That was a statement. I am the one they...
Dillon Gabriel was supposed to be the one who finally stabilized the Browns' quarterback situation after years of chaos. Shedeur? He was supposed to be the dude who waited in the shadows, took quiet reps, and stayed ready for an emergency. But everything flipped instantly. Dillon Gabriel injured himself. The media pressure kept building. The team kept losing games they had no business losing. The offense looked like it was stuck in mud every single week. Something had to break. Then Kevin Stefanski dropped a bomb nobody saw coming. Out of absolutely nowhere, he handed the offense, the whole city's hopes, to a rookie who barely had time to breathe with the first team. They didn't give Shedeur weeks or months of prep. They gave him days. 3 or 4 practices with the starters, then straight into an NFL battlefield. Who does that? They practically said, "Figure it out right now," and tossed him straight into the fire. By normal standards, Shedeur Sanders was set up to struggle. Any rookie in that situation would have been overwhelmed, rattled, making the kind of mistakes you expect from someone thrown into chaos overnight. But Shedeur Sanders isn't built like most rookies. He's wired different, and the world saw it unfold in real time. Before the game even kicked off, he dropped a statement that froze the room. A reporter asked about pressure and expectations, and Shedeur stared straight into the camera and said, "I'm the one they've been waiting for." He didn't hesitate, didn't flinch, didn't smile. He delivered it like a promise. "I am the one they've been waiting for." That's superstar confidence, the kind only players designed for prime time ever tap into. And then he backed it up. The Cleveland Browns didn't just beat the Raiders, they dominated them. A clean, commanding 24-10 beatdown. Shedeur Sanders didn't just survive his first start, he controlled it from the first snap to the final whistle. He looked calm, steady, and completely unbothered by the moment, something Browns fans haven't seen in decades. On top of that, he snapped a streak nobody thought would ever end. He became the first Browns rookie quarterback in more than 30 years to win his debut. The last time a rookie Cleveland QB won his first game was back in 1995. Think about the scale of that drought. 3 decades of dysfunction, Rebuilding attempts, washed-out veterans, coaching changes, botched draft picks, and constant quarterback turnover. And not one rookie could start off with a win until Shedeur Sanders stepped in. For nearly 30 years, every Browns rookie quarterback either lost immediately or never got a chance to start at all. Shedeur changed that in a single night. But here's where things turn from impressive to downright unbelievable. The number of people who tuned in to watch him was off the charts. His debut didn't just draw interest. It dominated conversations around the NFL. Networks weren't ready for it. Social media couldn't process it.
Shedeur Sanders, not gonna lie to you, got got a whole TV to itself today. And frankly, I wasn't disappointed. I was actually entered. In fact, when he threw the ball,
Team execs around the league were stunned that a rookie with less than a week of prep created one of the biggest audience spikes of the entire season. It wasn't hype, it was a takeover. And here's the kicker. The moment Shedeur stepped on that field, it felt like everyone watching knew they were seeing something rare. Not just a good performance, but the birth of a new headline maker, a player who brings electricity no coach can teach. Even veterans around the league were messaging about how surreal it felt to see a fifth-round rookie command a primetime environment with that level of swagger. It's the kind of debut that makes teams rethink their scouting departments and wonder how they let him slip that far. What makes this even crazier is that Cleveland fans, a fan base that has suffered through decades of quarterback disasters, finally felt hope hit them like a punch. You could feel the energy shift in that stadium, like they realized someone new had arrived, someone capable of flipping the entire identity of the franchise. And now the whole NFL is quietly asking the same question behind the scenes. Did Cleveland accidentally stumble into the quarterback they've been searching for since the 90s? Because after what Shedeur Sanders just did, the league has no choice but to pay attention. And the story is only getting louder from here. Nielsen numbers and NFL officials confirm something absolutely wild. This game pulled in more than 4.6 million live viewers across national TV, local broadcasts, and every major digital platform where fans could stream it. Week 12. Two teams nowhere near playoff contention. And yet 4.6 million people locked in like it was a championship battle. That kind of viewership doesn't just happen on a random Sunday. It's unheard of. A matchup this late in the season between struggling teams doesn't usually spark a nationwide reaction like this. Games with that kind of viewership are usually primetime playoff matchups or rivalry games with Super Bowl implications. To put this into perspective, Shedeur Sanders' debut didn't just pull solid numbers. It outperformed actual playoff games from recent years. It even topped some high-profile Monday Night Football matchups that featured established superstar quarterbacks and teams fighting for the postseason. Most fans weren't supposed to care about this game at all. On paper, this was the type of matchup that usually fades into the background late in the season. But instead of fading away, it exploded into a national conversation that every sports show, podcast, and fan base couldn't stop talking about. And honestly, only Shedeur Sanders can explain why something this unusual happened. He brings a level of star power that goes way beyond stats or scouting reports. Being the son of Deion Sanders, one of the most legendary charismatic athletes ever, he grew up understanding pressure, attention, and bright lights better than most.
Scrambling out to your right, avoiding the blitz, and you throw that 52-yard touchdown pass. You throw the swing pass, and you get a 66-yard, another touchdown there as well. I give credit where credit is due to Sampson. That is, I give credit where credit is due, because obviously the first week was awful. 25% completion percentage last week when he came in. This week, 55% completion, 47 yards passing. This time, 2,209. A touchdown pass yesterday. Give credit where credit is due. It was really, really good to see him perform, for him to have the opportunity after a few days of practice, like he pointed out, to really, really showcase his skill. And then you look at him. He's bigger than Dillon Gabriel. He clearly has a better arm, can spread the field better, can throw the deep ball. Okay, so he showed you some of the things as to why we were talking about him coming out of Colorado before
His time at Jackson State in Colorado put him on a stage that only a handful of college players ever experience. And when he slipped to the 5th round, even though his talent screamed first-round ability, he entered the NFL with a chip on his shoulder and something to prove. So when his moment finally came in Cleveland, he grabbed it with both hands and refused to let go. His performance wasn't flashy chaos. It was precise, calculated, and controlled. He completed 11 of 20 passes for 209 yards, threw 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and finished with a passer rating of 108.1 exclamation mark. Those numbers might look simple on paper, but context matters. This was a rookie quarterback thrown into his first NFL start after barely a week practicing with the starting unit. He was playing behind an offensive line that has struggled all season long, and standing across from a defense designed to confuse and overwhelm young quarterbacks. Yet he showed the calm, steady decision-making of someone who's been in the league for years. That 52-yard touchdown strike to Isaiah Bond wasn't just impressive. It was a statement. The ball drifted perfectly into Bond's hands in stride, like it came straight off a highlight reel from a Pro Bowl veteran. The stadium froze for a moment because nobody could believe a fifth-round rookie just dropped a pass like that in his first NFL start. Analysts watching it live had to look twice.
Who was I even going to? I wasn't even looking down there to see IB, and then, I'm just looking. I'm like, oh God, please. And he drops it in the bucket, and he reaches it out. I'm like, please, just don't fumble into the end zone. And I'm just like, wow, there's not many guys in the league that can make that throw. So that was a hell of a throw. I hope he can continue to grow. And
throws with that kind of touch and precision usually come from quarterbacks who have been dominating the league for years. And then came another beauty. The screen pass to Jerome Ford that turned into a 66-yard touchdown. Shedeur had to read the defense instantly, release the ball at the exact right second, and trust Ford to explode into open space. That's what top-tier NFL quarterbacks do. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a busted play. It was a rookie executing a professional-level read with confidence. Even when he threw the interception, Shedeur didn't blink. Jeremy Chin made an incredible play, and it was definitely a throw Shedeur likely wants back. But this is where his mentality showed. Most rookie quarterbacks fall apart after their first interception. They start hesitating, second-guessing everything, seeing pressure that isn't even there. But Shedeur Sanders walked back onto the field like nothing happened and led the offense right back down the field. It was the attitude of someone who understood the moment wasn't too big for him. Not even close. His words after the game matched his poise on the field. He said he felt peaceful going into the game because he studied and prepared, and he credited part of that calmness to knowing that God was with him. And then he dropped the line that made people sit up straight. He reminded everyone this was just 1 week with the starters and told people to imagine what he'll look like with a full offseason of reps and timing. He said things get dangerous when he has enough time to build real chemistry with his receivers. And that wasn't arrogance. That was confidence earned the hard way. The impact of his debut went way beyond the scoreboard or the win. During the game, social media erupted, like it was watching the next big superstar being born right in front of them. Fans from other teams were talking about him. Former players were commenting on his swagger and composure. Analysts were arguing live on air about whether Cleveland accidentally found the quarterback they've been searching for since the 90s. Even people who didn't care about the Browns suddenly had something to say. Every highlight clip of Shedeur started going viral. Not because he was a rookie, but because he looked like someone who belonged under bright lights from day one. His debut didn't feel like a beginning. It felt like the start of a new storyline the whole league has to pay attention to now. And what shocked many viewers was the way Shedeur carried himself after the game ended. No nerves, no shaky rookie energy. He sounded like someone who expected to win.
5 times. so it's not, it just come with the game. It is what it is, but I'm just thankful for where I am now. I don't, everybody have their differences, but I still got an opportunity to play, so why can I be mad? Money different, but thankfully I have a good family, so it is what it is. We're not playing for that. We're playing for the love of the game. So I'm just thankful to be out here, have an opportunity, be able to go and play. Go out there and play, go out there and start. Like, you don't know how surreal, that feeling is, knowing that you have the responsibility.
Someone who believed this was supposed to happen. That kind of presence is rare in young quarterbacks, and it's even rarer in situations where everything around them was stacked against them. Even rival fans couldn't ignore the moment. They could see the sparks of something big happening in Cleveland, something they haven't seen in decades. A quarterback stepping onto the field and immediately shifting the energy in the entire building. Within minutes, clips of Shedeur Sanders' throws were everywhere. Social feeds lit up like a stadium scoreboard, and his highlights spread so fast it felt like the entire country was watching at the same time. National sports shows that hadn't mentioned the Browns in weeks suddenly dedicated full segments to Shedeur Sanders and what he just pulled off. Even people who normally skip Browns games were tuning in because the hype was too loud to ignore. That's what true must-see football looks like. Inside the Browns building, the energy flipped instantly. Players who had been dragging through a rough season suddenly looked alive again. Even Myles Garrett, who had been visibly frustrated for months, looked fired up like he had just played in a playoff win. He racked up 3 sacks against the Raiders and looked genuinely happy for the first time in a long while. Several players said Shedeur's confidence spreads through the whole locker room. They talked about how his belief in himself pushes everyone else to believe they can win too. That's what real leaders do. Those kinds of intangible traits are what separate decent teams from great organizations, the type of qualities that shift entire cultures. The massive viewership tells an even bigger story about what's happening. For the NFL, 4.6 million people watching this particular game is a huge business opportunity.
And followed up with you, and it went a little viral about feeling the pressure of having to perform at a different level. And you said it's been like that your entire life.
Has it changed?
That's what I'm about to ask you. How'd you feel coming into, is it change at the pro level?
I'm not gonna lie, I felt very relaxed, very relaxed. And half of that comes from preparing, studying, and knowing I got God on my side. So throughout all that, I had no worries. I didn't feel nervous or anything before the game because, he took off.
Networks are already rushing to get more Browns games with Shedeur on their schedule because they know he's becoming a household name faster than anyone expected. Sponsors want to be connected to him. Brands want him on commercials. Everyone sees the rise happening in real time. And think about this. The Cleveland Browns, a team that has been laughed at for years, suddenly have the most electrifying young player in the sport. That alone changes the financial future of the entire franchise. The impact stretches far beyond ticket sales or merchandise. This is a full-on shift in identity. Shedeur did all of this wearing number 12 and starting for the first time in Week 12 of the NFL season. The symmetry is unreal. Everyone understands the symbolism. It felt like fate lining up perfectly, like this moment was meant to happen exactly the way it did. Shedeur himself mentioned the timing, and you could see he understood how special it was. Shedeur Sanders was in the stands at Allegiant Stadium, watching every snap. And he wasn't just watching his son play football, he was watching the beginning of something massive. The spark of a career that could transform the Browns for the next 15 years. Shedeur knows greatness better than almost anyone, and witnessing that same fire in Shedeur had to be unforgettable. It felt like a curse was finally lifted. The streak was broken. Cleveland finally found the quarterback they've been searching for. For nearly 30 years, the Browns tried everything. Drafting quarterbacks high, drafting them low, signing veteran free agents, making big trades, rolling the dice over and over again. Nothing ever worked. Every attempt ended the same way: disappointment. Then comes a fifth-round pick nobody expected to play this season, and he walks onto the field and instantly looks like the missing piece they've waited decades for. Kevin Stefanski, who spent the entire week praying he made the right call, suddenly has something real to build around. Andrew Berry, the general manager who made the decision to take Shedeur in the 5th round, suddenly looks like the smartest man in the draft room. And Jimmy Haslam, an owner who has watched quarterback after quarterback flame out, finally sees a future he can believe in. And the fans, the long-suffering Cleveland faithful, the ones who have spent years watching heartbreak after heartbreak, for the first time in a generation, they finally have a quarterback who gives them real hope. Not temporary hope, not fake hope. Real, durable, season-changing hope. The ripple effects go beyond just Cleveland. Teams around the league are second-guessing themselves. Scouts are digging back through their draft notes, trying to figure out how they missed Shedeur Sanders. Executives are having uncomfortable conversations about why their team didn't take a chance on a quarterback who's now showing clear franchise potential. That's what happens when a 5th-round pick plays so well that every team who passed on him looks like they misread the entire board. Shedeur Sanders didn't just win a football game in his first NFL start. He sent a message across the league. A new era just started in Cleveland, and everyone knows it. The old jokes about Browns quarterbacks are done. The narrative that Cleveland will never figure out the position is officially dead. Shedeur didn't just introduce himself to the league. He stamped his name across every conversation like he's been here for years. Teams are already planning differently because of him. Analysts are changing their projections. Fan bases are paying attention. And the NFL just got its next headline star, one who showed up out of the 5th round and rewrote Cleveland's entire future in a single night. Even rival franchises are whispering behind closed doors, trying to figure out how the Browns of all teams landed the quarterback with the poise, presence, and star-level magnetism that the league hasn't seen in a long time. There was something different about this game. Something 4.6 million people felt the moment it happened. They watched a first-year quarterback handle pressure like someone who's been in the league for a decade. They saw throws executed with a level of precision most veteran quarterbacks struggle to hit perfectly. They witnessed a young player carry himself with a smooth confidence and natural presence you simply can't coach. They didn't just see a debut, they saw the beginning of what could be an incredible career. And that's why everyone keeps watching. Because Shedeur Sanders isn't just talented, He's entertaining every single time he touches the ball. The question is no longer whether Shedeur will start next week. At this point, if Kevin Stefanski even thought about benching him, the entire city of Cleveland would explode with frustration. Now the real question is, how good can Shedeur get with the right coaching, the right development, and a full offseason of work with the starters? What does this Browns offense look like once the entire playbook opens up for him? What happens when they let him unleash every bit of that arm talent we've already seen glimpses of? The answers to those questions might decide whether Cleveland is finally ready to become a real playoff threat, or if the struggles continue. But based on what we all saw in Week 12 against the Raiders, the future feels brighter than it has in decades. Shedeur Sanders showed he is not a long-term project. He proved he isn't some lucky fifth-round flyer. He showed he is a legitimate NFL quarterback who can win games right now, even under pressure, even in chaos, even with the entire league watching. And he did all of it while pulling huge viewership numbers and forcing analysts everywhere to start talking about Cleveland for the right reasons. Records fell, old narratives died, and years of doubt finally ended. Cleveland didn't just find the quarterback they wanted, they landed someone even better than they ever imagined. Shedeur Sanders didn't just play his first NFL game. He made it clear a star has arrived. The league's entire landscape shifted in real time, and there's no going back. Anyone who watched it knows this wasn't ordinary. It was the start of something massive, the foundation of a new era that could change everything for the Browns. So now I have to ask you, did you watch Shedeur Sanders' first NFL game? Did you witness history with 4.6 million other viewers? Do you think he's the real deal? Do you need more proof? Or did that one game convince you he's the next franchise star in this league? And most important of all, how far do you think Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns can go from here? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this conversation is only beginning. If you believe Shedeur Sanders is the next superstar in the NFL, if you think we just watched the birth of a franchise quarterback, if you're excited to see what happens next in Cleveland, then hit that like button immediately. We'll be covering every game, every throw, and every defining moment of Shedeur Sanders' career as it unfolds. So make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. This story is just getting started, and you won't want to miss a single chapter. And let's be real, if this is the level Shedeur is showing with barely any starter reps, imagine what happens once he's completely locked in with this offense. The league might not be ready for what comes next, but Cleveland sure is.